Hi everyone, welcome to Maximum Attack Rallying. As you can see, I'm not in the place that I usually make videos. I'm in the UK on vacation, so I'm going to have to apologise for that a little bit because it means that this video is not going to be as visually exciting as usual. Normally when I do a rally report, I'd put in some clips from the event, but I'm just not going to have time to do that, so you're just going to have to look at my face, and believe me, I am very glad to be in the UK though, enjoying the evening sunshine on Sunday as I record this. So we've just had a very exciting, very dramatic Acropolis rally. There is lots to talk about, chiefly the fact that Ott Tänak won the event, giving Hyundai their first victory of 2025, and it was a deeply, deeply impressive performance. It was just a great battle, wasn't it? A great battle between the Estonian and the ever wonderful Seb Ogier, who showed his juniors once again that it is possible to start right near the front of the field and be in with a shout of victory. So that was very impressive. But of course, Tänak had the measure of him, it seems, and just seemed to have the pace, didn't he? They took 13 stage wins out of 17 between them. Tänak just edged Ogier with 7 wins to Ogier's 6. Despite Ogier's ability, you know, he was fantastic, wasn't he? But Tänak just seemed to be on a level this weekend, didn't he? And after a very impressive performance last time out in Sardinia, he has become the major title challenger to Elfyn Evans, I think. So in points terms, Ogier has closed to within 9 points of Evans after the rally, but he will not be in Estonia, and I suspect he won't be in Finland either, so he is going to fall away out of that race, and he's sort of in a bit of an artificial position right now, isn't he? But Tänak has moved up to 3rd spot. He is just 12 points behind Evans, so that's a big step forward for him. That does mean, though, that the big loser over the weekend was Kalle Rovanperä. He had a pretty bad weekend, so he went off the road on Saturday and got stuck. There was some damage, I think, there as well, broken drive shaft, wasn't it, that kind of ruined his weekend in the end. And that was on the very same stage that claimed Takamoto Katsuta, who also went off the road. So bad weekend for Toyota in that respect, and that leaves Rovanperä 33 points behind Evans. Just jumping around a little bit, Adrian Formeau deserves a mention. He got his first podium, finishing in 3rd place. I think that's the first time he's been on the podium since Monte Carlo, so nice to see him get a result. I said he needed a result, and he got a decent one. Did have some suspension damage at one point, but such was his advantage over Elfyn Evans that it didn't matter. Speaking of the championship leader, he finished in 4th place and was one of very few drivers to have a trouble-free weekend. The pace again was not fantastic, especially given what Ogier was doing, you know, being in the lead battle, but you know, he ground out the result, didn't he? And as others had problems, he was there to pick up points, and you know, he'll be glad, I think, now to move on to the smoother and faster roads of Estonia and Finland. Obviously, he's a previous Rally Finland winner, so hopefully he will go there, and that championship lead will the diminishing of that championship lead will stop. Let me just think, who else do we want to talk about? Let's talk about Thierry Neuville, shall we? He actually led the rally in the early stages. I think he had 2 punctures on Friday, didn't he? One in the morning and then one after service. He eventually finished 5th, which is kind of okay. He had a mechanical issue on Sunday, so he couldn't score good Sunday points. It's just not looking good, though, is it? It's not looking good for his title defence. He's 54 points now, I think, adrift of Elfyn Evans, and you have to, I said this in the preview, didn't I, that I thought his championship charge was probably over, and I think that's the case. You know, he is a long way behind. I know we can have some reasonably big swings in points, but for me, you know, it's just not gone his way this year, has it? And I don't think that is going to change enough to bring him back into contention, unfortunately. And I think, if anything, he's probably going to end up supporting Tänak's bid. Just rounding out the Rally 1 action, we had a slightly curious issue over the weekend. So Sami Pajari, Martins Sesks and Gregoire Munster were all forced out of the rally with a fuel issue. At the time, it seemed just one of those things somehow, didn't it? But it turns out that that was apparently related to the fuel being used. If you are not aware, P1 Racing Fuels, who were the official fuel supplier for WRC, went into administration earlier this year, meaning that Total Energies had stepped in and they supplied fuel from the Canary Islands onwards. And weirdly, there hasn't really been any problems that we've been aware of. But this weekend there was definitely a problem, and 3 of those cars retired. So that was a bit weird, and is probably something to keep across, isn't it? I don't know how much information we're going to get for that. It's not good, is it? It doesn't look good, but that said, you know, Total have come in without, you know, this was not their responsibility. You know, P1 was supposed to be the contracted fuel supplier. So, you know, we should give them a little bit of leeway that they've jumped in and done this, but it's not great, isn't it? And it doesn't, I think visually it's not the best thing, is it, if we've, you know, we're supposed to be one of the top motorsport championships in the world and we can't even put good fuel in the cars. It's a little bit problematic, so things to keep an eye on there. I will just mention Josh McAlean. He had a bad weekend after many of the positive things I've said about him this year. He had some suspension damage on Saturday, wasn't it, which meant that he finished outside of the top 10. It was a very, very difficult rally all round, very rough, very hot, very dusty, and pretty miserable, I suspect, in the cars. And that meant, and those issues meant, that we actually had 5 Rally 2 cars in the top 10, in the bottom half of the top 10. So that was very interesting, wasn't it? It's perhaps no surprise that Oliver Solberg dominated WRC2, and he now leads the championship. And I think he will win the championship, and should win the championship, because I've said this before, I think, haven't I, that he is more than ready to step up to a Rally 1 car. Behind him was Gus Greensmith and Johan Rossell, who I think is another man to step up to Rally 1. I don't know where he'd go, but I think he should. On that point, we were having a discussion, myself, Bob Irvin and James Downey, who I occasionally do the Pondy's Tash podcast with, and we were discussing whether Solberg and Rossell would make a good M Sport lineup, and I think they would. I think that would be worth a gamble. If it was me and I was in charge of M Sport and I could make the numbers work, I would put Solberg and Rossell in a car each, and then have McAlean in a third car with some help from Motorsport Island. That would be my fantasy M Sport team. And on that bombshell, perhaps you could tell me what you think should happen at M Sport and whether you think that's a good idea or not. Otherwise, do let me know what you thought of the Acropolis, what your takeaways from it, who did well, who did bad. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and if you haven't already, go and check out all of the Rally Vosges Grand Est content, because there is lots and lots of it, and I would like you to watch it and validate me. Otherwise, though, I will leave you behind and continue to enjoy the sunshine, and I will see you again next time.